my book and wax friends. I'm Amber. If you're new, welcome. Welcome back if you are returning. Today's video is a bookish one. It is my winter TBR. So these are the books that I'm hoping to get to during the month of January, which Happy New Year, and the month of February. So of course I'll have a lot more books than this that I will want to read. Stay tuned for my TBR jar picks, the prompts for January, but these are some of them at least. So let's go over them together. The first one I have is The Hero of Ages by Brandon Sanderson. This is the third book in his Mistborn Era 1 series, and I'm ready to have my heart ripped out. No, I'm very nervous because he's not afraid to go there with his characters. And so I'm very nervous. I've sobbed in the first two books, and I just think this book is going to destroy me, but I'm trying to prepare myself. So in his Mistborn books, it uses a magic system that has to do with metals, and if you're Mistborn, you can use all the metals to do various sort of magical abilities, and it's wonderful. Found family, heist situation, overthrowing the government, all of it, all together. Coming of age for the main character, Vin. And it's an amazing series. So I highly, highly recommend the Mistborn series. But yeah, we'll see how the final book goes. I'm nervous. Okay, moving on is A Forbidden Alchemy by Stacey McEwen. And the second book comes out in 2026. So I for sure want to get to this one to see if I want to continue in the series. So this is a girl named Nina Harrow, and then a main male character named Patrick Coulson. They're only 12 years old when they're whisked from their disenfranchised mining towns to dazzling Belvedere City to test for magical abilities. Nina's lifelong dream is to become an artisan, a powerful elemental mage who fulfills the city's grand ambitions, while Patrick wants only to be reunited with his family of craftsmen in the mines. Together, they discover a devastating secret. Artisans aren't born, but chosen. With this information, they part ways. Patrick returns home while Nina finds her place as one of the rarest, most coveted types of artisan. When a craftsman revolution ignites years later, Nina is captured by Patrick's rebel group, and he hasn't forgotten her. In fact, he needs her help for a mission that could shift the tides against Belvedere City. She reluctantly agrees to aid him, battling the sparks between them. But when Nina's first love reappears, asking her to betray Patrick for the artisans, she faces an impossible choice that will determine the fate of their world. So, love triangle. I like love triangles depending. I'm not anti-love triangle, it just depends. So I've heard really good things, and I'm looking forward to getting to that one. The next one I do not have on me, and that is In Your Dreams by Sarah Adams. This is the fourth book in her When in Rome series, a fourth and final. It should be the final one because it's about the final sibling in the sibling group. And this is a friends to lovers type of situation. And I'm excited about this one. So that is In Your Dreams. Then the next one I have to share is the second book, and I don't even know what this series, standalone series, is called, but it is The Blonde Who Came In From the Cold by Allie Carter. The first one was The Blonde Identity, and I really enjoyed that one a lot. I enjoy Allie Carter's writing. She writes really fun stories, and this one I'm sure will be great. So The Blonde Identity was about one twin, and this is the other twin in this world, and she's a spy. So, yay. Okay, next up for Jane Austen January, I am reading Northanger Abbey. And this is one I haven't ever read. I think I've seen one movie version of it, but I barely recall anything about it. But this one I know is kind of like a mystery. And let's see if it even has the synopsis in it. From what I remember, there's kind of like a mystery element to this one, with the main character, Catherine. And she's like obsessed with like reading mysteries. I could be completely wrong, but that's what I remember. Anyway, and yes, I'm looking forward to reading this one, Northanger Abbey. Okay, next up, my hubby wanted me to branch out. He got me this book. I'm not really a thriller reader, but he's all, I thought I'd get this one for you for Christmas to see, you know, if you might enjoy it. So that is Then She Was Gone by Lisa Jewell. And it just feels like end of winter into spring, just the look of it. And so that's why I decided to add it to my winter TBR. But let's look at the synopsis together. No one ever just disappears. Ellie Mack was the perfect daughter. She was 15, beloved by her parents, friends, and teachers. She and her boyfriend made a teenaged golden couple. She was days away from an idyllic summer vacation with her whole life ahead of her, and then she was gone. Now her mother, Laurel Mack, is trying to put her life back together. It's been 10 years since her youngest child disappeared, 7 years since her marriage ended, and only months since the last clue in Ellie's case was unearthed. So when she meets an unexpectedly charming man in a cafe, no one is more surprised than Laurel at how quickly their flirtation develops into something deeper. Before she knows it, she's meeting Floyd's daughters and his youngest, Poppy, that takes Laurel's breath away. Because looking at Poppy is like looking at Ellie. Okay. So I'm willing to give this a try. Sounds like it could be good. And yeah, I've never read anything by Lisa Jewell. So that is Then She Was Gone. The next one I have is The Otherwhere Post. This is by Emily J. Taylor, who wrote Hotel Magnifique, which I read in like January or February of last year. And it was okay. If you watched my most disappointing books, I was on that list just because I had high hopes for it, because it looked like a whimsical good time. And it did have a lot of whimsical elements in it that I did enjoy, but the main character drove me crazy. So I'm hopeful that this one will be better. I've heard has some Divine Rivals vibes. So let's look at the synopsis together. 7 years ago, Maeve I don't know what that says. Let's put on my glasses. Sorry, guys. Abinthy lost everything, her world, her father, even her name. Desperate to escape the stain of her father's crimes, she lived under a fake name, never staying in one place long enough to put down roots. Then she receives a mysterious letter with 4 impossible words. Your father was innocent. Sorry for the glare, guys. To uncover the truth, she poses as an apprentice for the Otherwhere Post, where she'll be trained in the art of scriptomancy, the dangerous magic that allows couriers to enchant letters and deliver them to other worlds. So I think that sounds like such a fun time. So the Otherwhere Post. The next one, this was actually on my fall TBR, but I never got to it. But this feels wintry to me as well. I was planning on reading in November, but it feels like a perfect January book too. And that is Town of Shadows by Jessica Scarlett. And this is a historical fantasy. So it takes place in Victorian England, but there is magic. So 18-year-old Dorothy St. James can't control her magic. To avoid arrest, she locks herself at home and buries her nose in her experiments. But a kidnapper called the Rook is on the loose, and his victims keep turning up insane. When Dorothy's father is taken, she must exchange her beakers for bravery and find the Rook's trail. The problem is, only one person ever has: a mysterious masked hero. And it sounds fun. That is Town of Shadows. The next one I bought a couple years ago, and I haven't gotten to it yet. And I want to, because there's like 3 or 4 books in the series. And if I really like this, of course, I want to continue. So that is Beyond the Filigree Wall by, who's this? Melissa Wright. And I just love the cover on this. I think it's so cute. I love the artwork on it. And that's kind of what drew me to it. So let's see what this book is about together. So this says, Antonetta Ostwind is about to get everything she's ever wanted if all goes to plan. She'll end the fay, steal back what was stolen, and win the post she's dreamed of since she was a girl. There's just one problem. His name is Gideon Alexander. Gideon holds the key to her coveted post. He's fantastic with the sword, looks amazing in a uniform, and commands even the adoration of his great beastly dog. He's living the life Etta needs. Gideon doesn't believe Etta should have any of it. In fact, he's planning to make sure she never does. And that's a real problem, because if Etta can't take her post as marshal, how can she have her vengeance and save the kingdom from the Prince of the Fae? So this is a rivals to lovers, it sounds like, fantasy book, and it looks really cute. The next one is a cozy fantasy. It is The Baby Dragon Cafe by A.T. Qureshi. And the synopsis is, welcome to the cutest and most complicated cafe in town. When Saphira opens her cafe for customers with pet baby dragons, she isn't expecting it to be quite so hard to keep the fires burning. But her young dragon patrons keep incinerating the furniture, which means selling coffee isn't covering her costs. Local heartthrob Aiden is a gardener, though his disobedient baby dragon is a major distraction from his beloved plants. However, Saphira's cafe gives him an idea. He'll ask Saphira to train his dragon and pay her enough to keep the cafe afloat. They know they're the answer to each other's problems, but happy-go-lucky Saphira and gorgeous but grumpy Aiden couldn't be more different. Can they find a way to work together and maybe even ignite some fire of their own? This looks so cute. And I know the second book came out in 2025, and so I want to see if I like this, and that way I can continue. I'm a big fan of the cozy fantasy. So the next one is a contemporary romance by Courtney Walsh, My Phony Valentine. This is the first book in her Holidays with Heart romance. The third book just came out in the end of November, I think it was. And that one was a Christmassy one, so I want to read this one so I can get to the next one, the next two. The next one is a St. Patrick's Day, and then, like I said, the Christmas one. So these are like hockey romance, sports romance. And the synopsis is, a chance meeting, a hunky hockey player, a fake romance, yay, one of my favorite tropes, hardly an ordinary day in the life of Poppy Hart. My days usually consist of agonizing over my failing restaurant, worrying about my mountain of debt, and nursing my broken heart. Everything changes when I bump into a man in the coffee shop and claim him as my new boyfriend. To my absolute horror, he turns out to be hockey's most renowned bad boy, Dallas Burke. To my absolute delight, he goes along with my story. So I love the fake dating trope. It's the best. I love it. One of my favorites. Okay, and then last but not least, this is the final book in the Witchlands series. At least I'm pretty sure it's the final one. And that is Witchlight by Susan Dennard. And I'm so excited to get back into this world. We've had to wait at least 2 years for this book to come out, maybe even more. Can't remember when the last one came out, but I loved the whole world. And I don't really want to say what this one's about because there's 4 other books with the novella. And yeah, but this is a world where there's witches that have different abilities, and Safi is a truth witch. In the first one, you find that out, and she hides that ability though because she would be used by people higher ups and stuff for her abilities if people know. And then her best friend Isolde thinks that she's a thread witch, but she doesn't absolutely know for sure what that is or what her abilities are. And it goes from there. And I highly recommend this series. And there's a ton of twists and turns. This is a YA fantasy series with some romance. There's a little bit of romance in it, but it's actually a clean YA. Unfortunately, nowadays, the YA genre seems to be getting a little more not YA. They need, in my opinion, tangent, but they need to officially make a new adult category. They do have ones that are considered new adults, but in the publishing world, they don't really have a new adult category to market to people, and I wish they did. That way they can keep the stuff that is starting to creep into YA books and put it in the new adult books. So anyway, that's my little rant. Moving on, I am excited to get to the Witchlight books for sure. So that is it. That's everything for my winter TBR. Again, like I said, this is not all the books that I do plan on reading. Other things will come in from the library, and we'll see what happens. With being a mood reader, along with liking to pick an official TBR, makes the month of reading fun each month. So let me know if you've read any of these books and what might be on your TBR for the winter. And what are your thoughts and feelings about the YA category genre and the changes that seem to be being made these last few years? So let me know your thoughts down below. I still love the YA genre. Is one of my favorites to read just because they're so fun. But definitely those things, if you're considering them for actual YA readers, those things that, in my opinion, aren't appropriate are sneaking in. So anyway, let me know down below. I appreciate all of you. Thank you for spending some time with me, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Until next time, TTFN. Ta-ta for now.